So I've been doing a lot of thinking about James Gunn and Superman and kind of what the goal is because this Superman saga, as much as I've talked about it, it's really thrown me for a loop because obviously I made a video about this on my live stream, which you should have saw in clips, but I was talking about the fact how the DCU right now doesn't need Batman. And for the DCU to not need Batman, right? And just to put in context what I was saying, all I was saying is that if the DCU is really having problems with getting Batman off of the ground, the DCU shouldn't wait for Batman. They should just go for it, and they should just do their best, to position their characters that they have available in the right place to give us the Justice League right now. And if Batman comes later, then he does. And I used that example as with the Avengers, right? Like the Avengers in the MCU, they didn't have Iron Man. They didn't have, or sorry, they had Iron Man, right? They had Captain America. They had Thor. But obviously, they didn't have the X-Men. They didn't have the Fantastic Four. They didn't have, Spider-Man, but they still made both Avengers movies, and the Avengers was the biggest thing. The Avengers were bigger than the X-Men and even Spider-Man at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like the MCU was on such a crazy trajectory that when they put Spider-Man in their movie, he was a side character and no one cared because, the movie revolved around two guys, right? Captain America and Tony Stark Iron Man. And so I say all that to say is that because they positioned their characters the right way and did the right things, right? Iron Man and Captain America in the MCU, there was a point when they were bigger. They were bigger than Tom Holland Spider Man. You know what I mean? And obviously now that Spider Man No Way Home has happened and Spider Man Brand New Day is going on, I would say that Tom Holland Spider Man has is in the position of surpassing those characters right now because he is like pretty much all of the legacy that we have left in the MCU, right? But with that being said, I think that David Cornsweet's Superman is going to be positioned in the same way that Iron Man and Captain America were. I think that because of the fact that Batman's taken a long time to get off his feet, and there's been a lot of changes in the DCU, I think that David Cornsweet's Superman has to be at a level that he has never been before as Superman. You see, a lot of people get things mixed up with Superman, and I want to point this out. Superman has a lot of great moments. Yes, he does. I mean, if we talk about Christopher Reeve Superman, that was a revolutionary thing for the movies. Even if we talk about, Henry Cavill Superman, which a lot of people give hate to, but Henry Cavill Superman did a lot, for Superman. I think that the Man of Steel is an amazing moment that a lot of people love, and that's why a lot of people hold, the Man of Steel to such a high regard because of that. But just because a character or hero has had great moments, right? That doesn't mean that they have gone on great movie runs. So let's talk about movie runs, right? And by the way, we are not talking about comic books. We're not talking about source material. We are talking strictly movie business right now. We're talking about a movie run, right? I am talking to you about these movies. We are talking about the Dark Knight, Batman. We are talking about the Spider-Man. We're talking about the Raimi trilogy. We are talking about the Webb movies, and we're not talking about the Tom Holland movies. We are talking about Iron Man and Captain America, right? Iron Man had his three movies, and then we go on to see him in other MCU projects. With Captain America, we get the first Winter Soldier, and then we get Civil War, right? Like a lot of these characters, right? The main, even Thor, as much as some of his movies were suspect really Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Thor, even to an extent, went on a movie run. And the thing that you have to understand is that it doesn't matter if a character is popular by comics or by animation, right? Having a movie run makes a character a global sensation, okay? And that's just the facts. And the reality is, Superman has had his, and I will argue this that Superman's popularity comes from a lot of great animation, right? If we talk about Superman, the animated series, legendary, definitely for me. I watch a lot of that. If we're talking about Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, a lot of that for me. Even if we were talking about some of the new DC animated stuff, right? A lot of that for a lot of us. The Death of Superman. There's been a lot of good Superman animated movies, right? And shows that has crafted our view of Superman. If we go to the movies, we're not seeing Superman in the intergalactic world and dealing with powers that be, right? We see pretty much the same villains in every Superman movie, right? Zod, Darkseid, etc. And obviously Superman has really big comic book runs, right? But like with a lot of the comic heads that I have talked to, right? Some of my previous colleagues, they have told me like, yo, Superman isn't the hero that I'm running to. You know what I'm saying? And even for me, right? I am not, a OG comic reader, but as someone that is really reading comics now, right? Like I read the whole entire New 52 Superman run and it wasn't that good. And yes, and I have read a lot of the most popular Superman stories, which I love, but the big reason or the big way that Superman has become popular is through animation. I say all that to say this: there has been a lack in the live action movie standpoint, as in there has never been a legendary run for Superman in the movies. Okay, even with Christopher Reeves and all of every other Superman, right? They have started off with very strong momentum, but they have never been able to keep the momentum. And I believe that David Cornswell Superman, with having a super family movie coming out within the next probably 2 to 3 years, I think that with that and with more that they do with Superman, over time, this can make Superman one of the greatest characters in movie history. Okay. And I say that because I do believe that Superman is going to be the backbone of the DCU. And I'm not sure if it ever was going to be Batman at this point, to be honest. I'm not necessarily sure. I'm not in James Gunn's brain. I can't make that assumption. But I think that what James Gunn is doing with showing Superman so much, it's because he's going to be the Kickstarter for a lot of things. He's going to be the ground that people walk on. Like, he is going to be the guy that sets the bounds for what the DCU is going to be. And for that to happen, Superman has to be as big as Batman and Spider-Man when it comes to a movie run. So I think that James Gunn is about to give us a epic Superman movie run. And the question is, this movie run that David Cornswell is about to go on as Superman, is this going to make him a character that is on an Iron Man and Captain America type of level when it comes to movies? Is this run going to secrete David Cornswell as the definitive Superman? Like, I I really do believe that if David Cornswell goes on a run, if David Cornswell goes on the run that I think he's going to go on, I think people are going to view him as the definitive Superman, saying, yeah, when I think of the greatest Superman of all time, it's that guy. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I think is going to happen with Superman. I think he's going to be he's already a universal character. Like, everyone knows the Superman symbol. Everyone's worn a Superman shirt. Mad people got, Superman tattooed on them. Yes. But we're talking about from a movie standpoint. He has never had the shine that Iron Man and Captain America and Spider-Man and Batman have had. Okay. And that's just truth. And so I can't wait to see, what James Gunn does with that. And I am very interested to see the way that Superman is going to grow as the backbone of the DCU to the fans. So I wanted to put that out there. Wanted to hear what you guys think about it. All right. So please leave a comment and like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and peace out.